Have you ever fallen in love with the wrong man, the one you shouldn't want? But the desire was impossible to control. That feeling, that adrenaline, that danger is like a fire you can't put out. Today, I'm going to tell you the story of a woman caught between love, hate, and a secret so dangerous it could destroy everything. A story of forbidden romance, dangerous passion, and a love no one should feel but can't resist. Subscribe to the channel and leave a like. I never thought walking into my husband's brother's club would feel like stepping into fire. The music thumped like a heartbeat I could feel in my chest, and the air smelled of danger and cologne. I wasn't supposed to notice him, but there he was, leaning against the bar, that smirk making my heart skip. His eyes met mine for just a second, and I felt something I couldn't name. This was forbidden, dangerous, and way too tempting, but I couldn't look away from the man who was my husband's brother. I told myself it was just curiosity, just a glance, nothing more, but every time our paths crossed that night, sparks flew. He leaned closer under the neon lights, whispering things that made my stomach twist in a mix of fear and desire. The club felt smaller, like the world had shrunk to just him and me, even though danger lurked around every corner. I kept thinking, this is wrong, so wrong, yet my body betrayed me with every glance. Romance forbidden, passion dangerous, my heart was already trapped. Later, I found myself outside, the cold night biting at my skin, but the fire inside me was worse. He appeared like he'd read my mind, leaning against the sleek black car with that same smirk. "Can't stay away, huh?" he said, and my breath caught. I wanted to deny it, but the truth was screaming at me. Every word, every look pulled me deeper into a world I wasn't supposed to enter. Love secrets, dangerous desire. My life was about to change forever. The tension between us was unbearable, yet electrifying. I hated how he made me feel alive and terrified at the same time. Around us, the world continued. My husband laughing with friends, people oblivious to the storm brewing. Every touch, every accidental brush of his hand made my pulse race. This wasn't just attraction anymore, it was obsession. And the more I tried to fight it, the harder it got to resist. Forbidden romance had me in its grip, and there was no turning back. That night ended with him disappearing into the shadows, leaving me trembling, craving more. I knew I shouldn't feel this way, but the danger and the desire had already hooked me. If you've ever felt that kind of fire, hit that subscribe button because this story is just getting started. And just when I thought I could resist, he showed up the next day in the most unexpected place, and I realized my life was about to spiral into chaos. I couldn't escape. The next morning, I thought I could shake it off, pretend nothing happened, but fate had other plans. As I walked into my husband's office, there he was, sitting in a leather chair like he owned the place. His dark eyes met mine, and I froze. My husband greeted him casually, unaware of the storm raging inside me. I tried to steady my breathing, but every second in that room felt like torture. Forbidden love was standing right in front of me, smirking like a sin I couldn't resist. He leaned back, calm and confident, while my husband talked business. I couldn't stop noticing the way he looked at me, like he knew every thought in my head. It was dangerous, reckless. And yet, I felt alive in a way I hadn't for years. Every stolen glance felt like we were playing with fire, daring the flames to consume us. I kept my hands folded tight, pretending to listen, but all I could think about was how close he was. My secret desire was turning into an unbearable obsession. Later that day, I tried to escape into the quiet of the garden, but he followed. "You look nervous," he teased, his voice low, brushing past me like it was nothing. My heart pounded so loud I thought he could hear it. "Stay away," I whispered. That the words lacked conviction. He chuckled, leaning closer, the scent of his cologne making me dizzy. "If you really wanted me gone, you wouldn't be standing here," he said. And deep down, I knew he was right. The truth hit me like a storm. I didn't want him gone. I wanted him closer, even if it destroyed me. Every second with him was dangerous, like walking a razor's edge. My husband's brother wasn't just temptation, he was a threat to everything I had. Yet I couldn't pull away. My life had been safe, predictable, even cold. But with him, it felt like chaos, passion, and fire all at once. And I craved it more than I craved safety. Before I could catch my breath, my husband's voice called from inside the house and panic shot through me. I stepped back, trying to hide the heat in my eyes. He smirked, whispering, "This is just the beginning." My hands trembled as I walked away, knowing I was standing on the edge of something dangerous. And I couldn't stop wondering, what would happen when desire finally crossed the line? Days passed, but I couldn't escape the memory of his eyes on me. Every time I tried to focus on my husband, guilt burned in my chest. Yet it wasn't enough to stop the desire. At dinner, across the long table, I felt his gaze on me like heat, even with others around. He didn't need to say a word. His smirk said it all. My pulse quickened, and I found myself avoiding his eyes, terrified someone else might notice. But the truth was clear. I was already playing with fire. It wasn't just glances anymore. He found excuses to be near me, handing me a glass, brushing against me in the hall, standing too close in the kitchen. Every touch was electric, leaving me breathless, my body betraying me with every reaction. I hated myself for wanting it, hated him for knowing it. This wasn't romance, it was war between my heart and my conscience, and every second I lost more ground. One evening, I caught him waiting by the balcony, the city lights glowing behind him like a dangerous halo. "Why are you doing this?" I asked, trying to sound strong. He smirked, eyes burning into me. "Because you feel it too," he said simply. The silence stretched, heavy and undeniable. My chest tightened as the truth pressed down on me. He wasn't wrong. And that scared me more than anything else. I wanted to scream, to run, to shut the door on this forbidden desire, but my feet stayed rooted, my hands clutching the railing as if it could save me. He stepped closer, his breath warm on my ear. "Tell me you don't want this, and I'll stop," he whispered. The words caught in my throat. I couldn't say them, no matter how much I wanted to. That silence was the answer he needed, and it shattered the last wall I had left. Before I could react, footsteps echoed from the hall, my husband's voice calling my name. My heart stopped, panic flooding my veins. He smirked, stepping back just in time, leaving me trembling on the balcony. I plastered on a fake smile as my husband appeared completely unaware. But deep inside, I knew the line had already been crossed. And once you play with fire, you're bound to get burned. The air in the house grew heavier with each passing day. I couldn't breathe without feeling his presence, even when he wasn't in the room. My husband remained blind to it all, laughing, drinking, planning business with his brother. But under the surface, something dangerous was growing, an invisible war of glances and half-smiles. My chest tightened every time I realized how close I was to being caught. And yet, the thrill made me crave more. One night, during a family gathering, our eyes locked across the table. He raised his glass in a silent toast, a smirk tugging at his lips. I clenched my fists under the table, furious at his boldness and furious at myself for wanting him anyway. My husband's hand rested on mine, grounding me, but my body betrayed me with every stolen heartbeat. Forbidden love was a prison, and he held the key. Later, I found him outside, smoking under the moonlight. "You're reckless," I hissed, trying to sound angry. He blew out smoke, eyes gleaming. No, sweetheart, I'm honest. You want me, and I want you. Stop lying to yourself. His words cut through me, sharp and undeniable. My hands shook, torn between slapping him and pulling him closer. Hate and desire blended into one unbearable storm, and I couldn't find my way out. The truth was clear. I despised the way he exposed my weakness, yet I couldn't escape the magnet pulling me toward him. Every insult turned into fire, every angry word into heat. He thrived on the war between us, pushing me closer to the edge with every encounter. And deep down, I knew I wasn't fighting him anymore. I was fighting myself, and I was losing. That night, as I lay beside my husband, I felt the ghost of his brother's touch still burning on my skin. Sleep wouldn't come, only guilt and hunger twisted inside me. My life was spiraling into chaos, and I couldn't stop it. But the real danger wasn't the desire itself. It was how much longer we could keep it hidden. And soon, the first crack in our secret was about to appear. It started with whispers in the house, a lingering glance caught by a maid, a pause too long when passing in the hallway. I felt eyes on me, not just his, but others, watching, guessing. My stomach tightened every time someone smiled too knowingly. This secret was too dangerous to slip, yet it felt like the walls were already closing in. Forbidden romance leaves traces, and I feared ours was leaving too many. One evening, while my husband was out on business, his brother cornered me in the kitchen. "You're shaking," he murmured, brushing a strand of hair from my face. "Because this is wrong," I snapped, though my body betrayed the lie. His smirk deepened, and for a moment the silence screamed louder than words. The air between us was charged, heavy with the passion I couldn't control. I hated how badly I wanted him, even while drowning in guilt. Suddenly, footsteps echoed in the hall, and panic jolted through me. He stepped back just as my husband walked in, his arm sliding around my waist casually. "Everything okay in here?" my husband asked, eyes narrowing slightly. My heart hammered against my ribs, praying he couldn't hear it. I forced a smile, my hands clammy, the lie bitter on my tongue. "Everything's fine," I whispered, though everything was far from fine. The moment passed, but the danger lingered. Later that night, lying in bed, I couldn't forget the look in my husband's eyes. Sharp, suspicious. Had he noticed? Had he felt it? The forbidden current buzzing in the air. My skin burned with the memory of his brother's touch, and my chest ached with the fear of being exposed. Love, secret, passion, dangerous. It was only a matter of time before it all exploded. As I closed my eyes, pretending to sleep, I heard my husband's phone buzz. His voice was low, tense as he whispered into the darkness. "I don't trust him. I don't trust her either." My blood ran cold. Did he mean me? The secret was slipping, and the storm was closer than ever. And deep down, I knew the night everything broke was coming fast. The days turned colder, but the heat between us only grew stronger. Every stolen moment felt sharper, more dangerous, like walking on glass barefoot. I caught myself checking over my shoulder constantly, terrified someone might notice the way my eyes lingered too long. My husband's glances grew heavier, sharper, like he was watching me closer than before. The walls of our secret world were cracking, and I felt the weight of collapse pressing in. One night during a dinner with business associate, his brother sat across from me, his smirk hidden behind a glass of whiskey. My husband's hand rested on my thigh under the table, a reminder of where I belonged. But my mind betrayed me, replaying the memory of his brother's hands instead. My chest tightened with guilt, but my body hummed with craving. The conflict was tearing me apart, and yet I couldn't stop wanting the very thing that could ruin me. After dinner, I stepped out for air, my heels clicking against the stone patio. The night was quiet until he appeared beside me, as if drawn by the same fire that burned inside me. "You're restless," he said, voice low. "Because of you," I whispered before I could stop myself. His hand brushed mine just enough to ignite sparks. My heart pounded, and I swore the stars above could see the shame and hunger written all over me. The sound of the door opening jolted me back, and I pulled away just in time. My husband stepped outside, eyes scanning the scene. His brother lit a cigarette calmly, smirking like nothing had happened. "Out here talking business?" my husband asked, his tone cool, almost probing. I forced a smile, my throat dry, praying he couldn't read the storm in my eyes. Lies were becoming second nature, but the danger of being caught was unbearable. That night, I lay awake, the weight of my husband's arm heavy across me, his breath steady in the sleep. My mind replayed every dangerous second, every close call, every lie. My heart ached with guilt, but my body still burned with forbidden desire. I knew something had to break soon, and the terrifying truth was, I didn't know if I wanted to stop it or let it consume me completely. The brothers had always been rivals, but now I could feel the fire between them burning hotter. It wasn't just business anymore. It was personal. Every glance, every word between them carried a hidden edge. I sat silently, watching the storm build, terrified that I was the reason for the crack in their bond. My stomach twisted with guilt, but my heart betrayed me with every stolen glance at him. Forbidden love was tearing the family apart, and I was at the center of it. One evening, during a heated argument about territory, my husband slammed his fist on the table. His brother just leaned back, smirking, eyes sliding toward me for the briefest second. My pulse spiked, and I knew my husband saw it too. His jaw clenched, suspicion sharp in his eyes, though he said nothing. The room felt suffocating, filled with tension, so thick it could snap at any moment. And deep inside, I feared the truth was already bleeding through the cracks. Later that night, I found myself in the library, the silence heavy around me. He walked in, closing the door behind him with a soft click. "You're playing with fire," I whispered, trembling. "So are you," he shot back, stepping closer, his eyes blazing. I hated how right he was. The walls I had built crumbled with every breath he took, every step he dared toward me. My body screamed for him, even as my mind screamed no. Our lips nearly touched, the moment thick with danger when footsteps echoed outside. We froze, my heart thundering in my chest. My husband's voice drifted down the hall, too close, too sharp. He brushed past me, whispering, "One day you'll have to choose." His words sank deep, a poison and a promise all at once. And I knew the day of choice was coming faster than I could handle. That night, as I lay in bed, pretending to sleep, I heard the brothers arguing in hushed tones. My husband's voice was tight, filled with suspicion. His brother's was calm, dangerous. My blood ran cold as I realized they weren't just fighting over business anymore. They were fighting over me. And when brothers in the mafia become rivals in love, someone always bleeds. The house no longer felt like home. Every corner held secrets. Every silence felt like a trap waiting to snap shut. My husband's eyes lingered on me too long, heavy with suspicion, while his brother's gaze burned holes straight through my soul. I was suffocating under the weight of desire and guilt, my heart pounding with every step. The line between hate and love, loyalty and betrayal was blurring too fast. One afternoon, my husband left suddenly for a meeting, leaving me alone in the study. Or at least I thought I was alone. The door opened quietly and his brother stepped in, locking it behind him. My chest tightened as he moved closer, his eyes fierce and unrelenting. "You can't keep pretending," he said, his voice low and rough. My lips trembled, but no words came out. The truth was written in the silence between us. He reached out, brushing his fingers across mine, and the dam inside me broke. I felt alive and terrified all at once, my body betraying every lie I had told myself. "This will destroy us," I whispered, but even then I didn't pull away. His touch was a fire I couldn't resist, and for the first time, I didn't want to. Forbidden romance had won, and I was too far gone to turn back. But just as the moment deepened, footsteps thundered down the hall. Panic shot through me like ice in my veins. He pulled back instantly, his face unreadable, while I scrambled to fix my breathing. My husband's voice called out from outside the door, sharp and impatient. My heart nearly stopped, terrified he would burst in and see everything written across my face. The walls were closing in, and I knew it was only a matter of time. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every sound in the house made me jump. Every shadow felt like the end of our secret. My husband was growing colder, sharper, and I could feel suspicion poisoning his words. The storm was here, and I was caught in the center of it. And what happened next would change everything forever. Dinner that evening was unbearable. My husband sat across from me, his eyes sharp as knives, cutting through every smile I tried to fake. He asked simple questions, but each one dripped with suspicion. I could feel his brother at the table, too, silent, tense, his gaze never truly meeting mine. The air was thick with unspoken truths, like a bomb waiting for the spark. Halfway through, my husband slammed his glass down so hard, the wine spilled across the table. "You've been distracted," he said coldly, his jaw clenched. My heart thudded painfully, my fingers gripping the edge of my chair. I tried to laugh it off, but my voice cracked, betraying me. His brother shifted slightly, his hand curling into a fist under the table. That night, after the storm of questions, I locked myself in the bathroom just to breathe. Staring into the mirror, I barely recognized the woman looking back at me. Flushed cheeks, trembling lips, eyes burning with fear and desire. I whispered to my reflection, "What are you doing?" But deep down, I already knew. I was falling for the wrong man, and there was no turning back. Later, when the house was asleep, I slipped into the dark hallway. He was waiting, leaning against the wall as if he had known I would come. No words were needed. The silence between us was enough. Heavy with longing and guilt, he reached for me, his hand cupping my cheek, and I let myself melt into his touch. For a moment, I forgot the danger, the lies, the betrayal. For a moment, it was just us. But footsteps echoed suddenly in the darkness. We froze, panic surging through our veins. A shadow moved at the end of the hall, and I knew in that instant the secret we had been fighting to hide was slipping away. And if the wrong person found out, it wouldn't just break hearts, it could end lives. The morning after felt like walking on shattered glass. My husband's silence was louder than any scream, his eyes tracking me as though I carried a secret he couldn't quite catch. My pulse raced every time his gaze lingered too long, as if he could peel back my skin and see the truth written beneath it. I tried to act normal, but every smile felt like a lie, too fragile to hold. His brother avoided me that day, but the distance only fueled the storm. When our eyes finally locked in the kitchen, it was like lightning cutting through the fog. The tension was unbearable, his jaw tied, his eyes screaming everything we couldn't say out loud. For one terrifying second, I thought he would kiss me right there in the open where anyone could see. That night, my husband confronted me again. "You think I don't notice?" he asked, voice low, dangerous. My heart dropped into my stomach, my throat closing. I shook my head, muttering excuses, but he stepped closer, his shadow swallowing mine. "Don't make me a fool," he whispered. It was both a threat and a warning, and I knew I was standing at the edge of something deadly. After he left the room, I collapsed against the wall, tears burning in my eyes. My heart begged me to run, but my body betrayed me, craving the man I couldn't have. Every touch, every glance from his brother replayed in my mind like a curse. I hated myself for it. I hated the danger, the lies, but even more, I hated that I didn't want to stop. The walls were closing in, and I could feel it. The truth was clawing its way out. One wrong move, one slip of control, and everything would shatter. The question wasn't if we'd be caught anymore, it was when. And when that moment came, someone was going to bleed.
The storm hit faster than I ever expected. My husband's suspicions grew sharper, like knives hidden in his words. He started asking questions he never asked before. Where I'd been, why I looked tired, why my phone was always face down. Every answer I gave felt weaker, like a thread that would snap with just one pull. I could feel him circling closer to the truth. His brother tried to cut things off, but the fire between us wouldn't die. One night, he grabbed my wrist in the hallway, pulling me into the shadows. "This has to stop," he whispered, but the way his lips hovered over mine betrayed him. The world spun, and for a moment, I thought we could resist. But then his mouth crashed against mine, hungry, desperate, and I knew there was no turning back. We didn't notice the footsteps until it was too late. A shadow fell across us, freezing the air. My stomach dropped, my pulse pounding in my ears as I pulled away. My husband's silhouette filled the doorway, his eyes wide, his fists clenched at his sides. The silence stretched like a blade about to cut. "Unbelievable," he spat, his voice shaking with rage. I tried to speak, to explain, but the words tangled in my throat. He looked at his brother, betrayal written in every line of his face. "You," he growled, stepping forward. For the first time, I saw fear flicker in his brother's eyes, a man who feared nothing except this. The room crackled with violence, and I knew this was it. The moment everything burned. Love, loyalty, family, it all shattered in a single heartbeat. And as my husband reached for the gun tucked beneath his jacket, I realized one truth. Someone wasn't walking out of this alive. The tension exploded like a grenade. My husband's hands shook as he pointed the gun, rage and betrayal written on every line of his face. His brother stepped forward slowly, palms raised, eyes steady but dangerous. I froze in the middle, heart hammering, sweat dripping down my temple. This was the moment everything would change. The secret we'd fought to hide was finally out. I wanted to scream, to push the gun away, to stop the chaos, but my body felt frozen in place. Words flew between them, sharp and heated, accusations cutting through the air like knives. The room smelled of sweat, gun oil, and fear. I realized that tonight, nothing would ever be the same again. The line between love and destruction blurred into a single, fiery moment. Then, in the blink of an eye, his brother lunged, not with violence, but to pull me behind him. The gun fired, a deafening crack that made my ears ring. My chest tightened, adrenaline roaring through me. Time slowed, each second stretching, and I saw the fear, the anger, the forbidden desire all collide in one instant. This is what forbidden romance looked like. Danger, passion, and chaos, all at once. When the smoke cleared, no one moved at first. My husband's eyes softened, the rage giving way to shock and realization.
His brother lowered his hands, still tense, still dangerous, but alive. I clung to him, trembling, knowing that nothing could erase what had just happened. But maybe we had survived